All right, at a time when companies are looking at ways to rationalize spending and improve their balance sheets, my next guest says deferring investment in the company is a surefire way to fall behind competitors. In fact, businesses that simply increase marketing at the expense of R&D will underperform competitors that do the opposite. Jean-Claude Larreche is Alfred H. Heineken Chair of Marketing at INSEAD. He joins us now here at our Asia headquarters. Jean-Claude, good morning. Great to have you on the show. Welcome.
Good morning, Martin.
All right. So let's get to your main thesis here. Companies should be pumping money back into themselves, reinvesting at this time, correct?
Yes, definitely. But in things that are going to create what I call momentum.
Yeah.
That means efficient growth that is sustainable over time.
Okay.
Obviously, what companies tend to do when they're in trouble is to push and push with marketing. Hence, marketing over sales increases, and this is not sustainable.
Okay, what should they be investing in then?
Well, the first thing to invest is understanding the customer. The research we've made shows that the customer is really at the source of efficient growth. What we call customer engagement or customer traction. The customers have to pull products and companies. Otherwise, you've got to push and push. I mean, Detroit is probably the worst example of the lack of momentum. You know, when you spend $5,000 to $9,000 per car to convince people to buy the cars. I mean, this is what we call compensating strategies. It's using money to compensate for something you should have done, which is to understand the customer.
Not so good product also, right? To be fair, right?
Well, but the definition of what is a good product is always in the consumer's eye. Okay, the consumers has to judge, definitely. And if you've got to push, if the product is not too good.
Jean-Claude, isn't the mood in companies still one of cautious optimism? And as such, we don't really know, haven't got a great deal of visibility on the outlook in the economy. And as a result, aren't companies still really locked in cost-cutting, remedial action, as opposed to looking to spend and reinvest?
Well, you know, cost-cutting should be a permanent activity. You know, people should not wait for a crisis to cut. The problem is in the crisis, people cut everywhere, you know, blindly, and that's very bad. We have a lot of waste in companies. We waste people's time, and we waste money. And we've got every year to look at what we should cut, but in a smart way, and then redeploy these resources in something which is more effective, more efficient. And the small companies do it. I mean, you have a lot of...
The company should be positioning for recovery then?
Yes, yes. And we can see it. I mean, Ford, for instance, has announced some pretty good results now. But the most amazing example for me was Hyundai. In the first quarter of 2009 in the US, they were growing at more than 4% when everybody else was declining at 10, 20%.
How did they do it? How did they do it?
Yeah,
what did they do right?
That is advertising program, which was job loss insurance. If you buy a Hyundai, okay, and you lose your job 6 months later, give it back, no questions asked, we pay for your leasing.
Oh, smart.
Okay? Smart. But what they've understood is not only how to make automobiles, but what they've understood is the key emotions of the customer. This anxiety of, you know, I'm going to indulge myself, you know, buy a new car, but if I lose my job 6 months from now, this is irresponsible behavior towards my family. That's what we call a momentum killer. And definitely, Hyundai was able to see this momentum killer and basically tell the customers, relax.
So it sounds as though, you know, the companies are going to get ahead in this sort of environment are ones that understand the consumer and understand, especially that right now you've got a very, very nervous, very scared, insecure consumer.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Understand the emotions.
Yeah.
In terms of crisis and afterwards as well. Emotions, you know, momentum, movement, emotions, it's the same root, the word motion. What drives the world is emotions, and you can see through the crisis.
But there's a cultural issue here as well, though. I mean, this part of the world, what this crisis has really showed us is that Asian consumers are more inclined to save as opposed to spend. I mean, the flip side is the case in the developed countries in North America. So how do you square that circle?
But even when people save, and in the US today, people are saving more than before, right? Because the credit crunch, lots of people have not lost their jobs. They're spending less. If they still have their jobs at the same salary and they spend less, they must be saving, right? I mean, at least, but they still are afraid to spend. That's the whole thing. And even before crisis, you have a company like Apple who is able to understand people's emotion, okay? And the success of Apple has got to do as much with the understanding of the consumer's emotion as it has to do with products. And you see what's happening with Apple today, still growing pretty fast despite the current crisis.
I gotta say, I mean, everything you say makes sense, and it's pretty rational to me. But at the same time, it would seem to be sort of a no-brainer. Obviously, you've got people still losing jobs. They're going to be scared and nervous. They're not going to want to spend when they don't know where their next paycheck's coming from, whether or not they can continue paying the mortgage. And the thing to do for companies is, at the very least, look, you need to offer a value proposition.
Yes.
Isn't it as simple as that?
Yes, you need to offer a value proposition, or what I call power offers. And in this word of value proposition or power offers, there's not the word product. Customers don't think today only about products. They think about an offer. And you've got to make an offer that people are going to buy.